tell people that you're heading to Guangxi, they assume that you're going to Guilin to see the Sun and the Moon Pagoda, the Longji rice terraces, and to cycle in Yangzhou. Which we've done, and it was amazing. But this time, we've decided to head further south to the areas that border Vietnam. After accepting an invitation from Odynovo Tours to visit these rural borderlands, we had little idea what was awaiting us. Well, except for the rain, of course. We knew that was inevitable. So we stuffed our bags with as much practical gear as possible and eagerly hopped on a flight down to Nanning, the gateway to China's southwest frontier, where we were met by our gracious guides and whisked away to China's most curious county. Bama has quite the reputation in China, and it's famed for its longevity. People from all over China flock here to experience the clean air and natural environment. As I revealed in my standalone Bama film, the area has an unusually high number of centurions. These residents are attractions in themselves, and many people believe that by meeting them, they themselves will live a long and healthy life. But as I'm about to tell you, there is also a lot more to the area. Our first stop of the day is Banyoyan Cave, and we've got to take a boat to get into the cave, which is quite exciting. Hands down, best cave I've been to. Honestly, it was really impressive. The limestone formations were just crazy. Obviously we've come out and now it's started to rain. Although as proud Brits, we can always sniff out a dry spot, which in our case was a room full of over 80s, practicing the local tradition of, well, proudly singing at every opportunity. Many belong to the Zhuang people, China's largest minority group, whose unique language and customs, and indeed their livelihood, are intertwined with the beautiful surroundings they call home. And as I discovered next in the famed Bama cave, their home is, quite simply, magical. Or magnetic, one of the two anyway. So apparently the magnetism on the rocks can make your hands grow. So if I put my hands like this, you can see that they are the same size. I'm going to put my hand on the rock for a minute, and apparently it's going to make it bigger. Like, I can feel the blood pumping.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see if it's grown. Okay, so. Oh my god, it has! It has as well. Small hand people, come here. This cave might seem like fun and games, but to the health tourists who flock here to bathe in its geomagnetic powers, it is serious business indeed. And many people spend weeks on end here, hoping to cure their ailments and stave off old age. It was certainly an interesting place, and upon leaving the cave, I was greeted with an all the more joyful scene. As you can see, there are lots of older people doing many activities and enjoying being out in the fresh air. I don't know about you, but I can certainly see why this is a great place to grow old. Fresh air and lots of activities is a great way to stay healthy. One reason people are believed to live a long and healthy life is because of their diet. So let's see what the locals eat. But before I could tuck into the beautiful spread, I was subjected to a kind yet cruel drinking ceremony. I think it's fair to say I preferred the food to the wine. And it did a good job of soaking up the alcohol. The next day, it was time to say goodbye to the stunning Bama Valley. And might I add, to our incredible hotel. But before you feel too sorry for me, I should let you know that our long drive southwards was punctuated by an amazing pit stop at the Goose scenic area. First things first, it's time for lunch.
Well, this is certainly one of the most interesting places I've ever had lunch. Not only are there these amazing views behind me, but I'm actually sat on a boat. Whoa! I'm very excited to go and explore this area as every direction I look is just incredible.
The scenery really reminds me of my previous trips into North Vietnam, which isn't that surprising considering we are just a stone's throw away from the border. The Zhuang people living on both sides of the border share much in the way of language, culture and customs, although as far as I know, the town I'm visiting next is very much one of a kind.
Zhuzhou is a small border town here in Guangxi, and the reason that I'm here is because it's the center of the silk embroidery ball tradition. Almost every home is involved in making these romantic trinkets, and more than 300,000 of these balls of love are made every year.
Over the past 2,000 years, these silk balls have evolved with the times, having started off as bronze weapons of war, before morphing into the altogether more peaceful objects produced today. Throughout the village, old ladies sit on their front steps, delicately stitching together 12 embroidered silk petals, one for each month of the year, before stuffing the center with wood shavings.
The silk embroidery balls are made by hand and can often take a few days to complete. The tradition is, if a girl likes a boy, she will throw the embroidery ball, then he will know he is welcome to pursue her. So, following Zhuang tradition, here you go, Jack.
As if I wasn't already feeling inspired enough to sell all my possessions and move to rural China, we then stumbled upon the house of a local artist who proudly showed off his incredible paintings. And with views like these, it is no wonder that this area is an endless source of inspiration.
Jack is setting up the drone.
The landscapes are so exhilarating that we found ourselves filming way too much to possibly fit into one film. So join us next week as we conquer one of Asia's largest waterfalls, discover China's most magical cycle route, and learn more about the fascinating Zhuang culture. Oh, and there'll be plenty of epic drone shots too.